We are live. That kind of took me by surprise. Holy smokes. Hey, it's a Wisconsin wine guy. I just got surprised by my own camera to say that, hey, you are live, ready to go live right now. It is Saturday. You know, if it's Saturday, it means we're going to be doing some wine and winery region or wineries or wine regional tours. Now, what I like to do is take you on a trip into the past. And in the past, I mean, these are videos that I have in my archive from California and Wisconsin. I'm a Wisconsin resident now, but I'm originally from California. I like to showcase different videos of what the wine regions were like in the past. In addition to sharing with you some of the different wineries in each of the regions. In Wisconsin, we'll probably do a lot more of sharing local wineries so you can get an idea of what's happening here in Wisconsin and give you some explanation of how things have changed. But today's show, we're going to be visiting Paso Robles, California. Wow, it's a fantastic place. I'll share with you a story about Paso Robles at the end of the video. So without further ado, I'm going to drink my Fonesca Bin 27 Port. Here's a toast to you, and let's now get this show started. Enjoy the Paso Robles wine region and all the different shops and places to stay and things to do. I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye.
Hi, I'm Simon Kane, and welcome to A Taste of California. I'm halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles in the coastal mountain range of Central California, about 25 miles from the ocean in the county of San Luis Obispo. Paso Robles, or El Paso de Robles, the Pass of the Oaks, or simply Paso, as the locals call it, has its origins in the mid-19th century as a hot springs resort. But as far back as 1795, it was spoken of and written about as California's oldest watering hole, the place to go for springs and mud baths. Nowadays, as the locals will tell you, there's a lot more to get excited about. Well, there seems to be no shortage of people who want to extol the virtues of Paso Robles, but I've picked the man who I think will really have the best inside track. He's the mayor of the city, Frank Meacham, and he's an 11th generation Californian. Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you very much
Welcome.
indeed. It is a city that I hear an awful lot about. Everyone seems to want to talk about it. Everyone's very enthusiastic. What is it to you?
Well, I think it's a city that's been discovered, and a lot of it is due to the wine industry. It's a city in transition, if you will, but it's a city that you step back in time to. And we're in the middle of the park right now, which is the heart of the city of Paso Robles. And this is a gathering point for folks. Anytime there's a major issue or an event, it takes place here.
I see you have a bandstand. What goes on
Yes,
the
we
bandstand?
have every Friday night. We have Friday night concerts in the park.
What else attracts visitors?
Well, not only the wine industry, but you have the gateway to the coast, which you probably have seen going over to Hearst Castle, those sorts of events. But we have lakes nearby, great restaurants, over 100 wineries in the area now. Even though it's relatively new, it's widely known and it's becoming more so all the time.
There's always colour and atmosphere here, especially on Tuesdays when the weekly farmers market comes to town, and also in May for the Vintners and Growers Association Wine Festival. Commercial winemaking actually began here in 1882, but it took nearly 100 more years before wine grapes were planted on a large scale, and what a vision it is now. For those of you who paid attention during your Greek mythology classes, then you'll know what the name EOS refers to. For those of you, however, who slept soundly during the same class, then this one is for you. EOS is the Greek goddess of the dawn. And why am I telling you this? Because these vineyards, this mighty oak, many of these lands that you can see around you are part of the EOS Winery. So take a good look around, and when you've breathed in enough of this incredible atmosphere, you can join me for a chat with marketing director Chris Biggs and hear about a couple of Italian brothers and the empire they built.
Well, it all starts in 1939 when Frank and Phil Archero immigrated here from Italy. They were both teenagers and they couldn't speak a word of English, actually, but they had great visions of things they wanted to do in this country, and they moved to California with the idea of becoming big movie stars, thinking that they were good-looking, strapping young Italian men. And that didn't pan out for them, but they happened to be in the right place at the right time and started a land development and cement contracting business, which became a very successful company and now one of the largest in the state. Once they were successful in building and land development, they were able to branch out and do other things they really always wanted to do, one of which was auto racing. And Frank himself started racing Ferraris on the weekends as a hobby in the 1950s, and that became a whole nother industry for them. Because of racing, actually, they would have to come through Paso Robles here en route to races north of Los Angeles. And they had the foresight to see this area as a great wine growing region, and bought some land and started planting in the mid-'80s here. Our flagship wines are Chardonnay and two American heritage grapes, Petit Syrah and Zinfandel. We're one of the key producers of both of those. And this appellation of Paso Robles is perfect for producing those two wines, actually. So it's become sort of a focus for us.
What would you say really sets EOS Winery apart? What's unique about this winery?
Several things. We're one of the largest estates here in Paso Robles with 700 acres of yielding vineyards. We have a wonderful tasting room and visitor center here that actually enables people as well to tour the winery on a self-guided tour and see all the different aspects of winemaking, which is unique to the area. And we also offer a race car exhibit showing some of the Archero's cars that have been used throughout the years. So many different things for the visitor here. We like to be different and take chances and do interesting things with our packaging. We've won awards for from major competitions in the United States for our EOS label, standard EOS label, and also for different things we've done with our dessert wines.
Up here in the peace and quiet at Steinbeck Vineyards, 500 acres of premium wine grapes are grown and sold to wineries all over California. Howie Steinbeck started it with just 50 acres in 1982, following 3 generations of family farming here in Paso Robles. But that's not quite where the story ends, because now the next generation, his daughter Cindy, has added a completely unique dimension to the family business. It's called the Wine Yard, and this is what it's about.
The Wine Yard at Steinbeck Vineyards is a family business that offers vineyard education toward wine appreciation. We offer vineyard tours, but we also do a seminar that teaches how we grow the wine grapes. In addition to what goes on during the growing season, we show all of the stages of vineyard development. So you're really getting your hands on in the field, seeing what it is we do to get the premium wine grape to the winery. When a large group visits the Wine Yard, we do a walking tour of the vineyard as well as the educational seminar. When a small group visits the Wine Yard, we take a Jeep tour around the ranch, and you get to see what goes on in the field. Our family business is unique for 2 reasons. Number 1, no one else has our family history. Number 2, there are no other vineyards in the state of California that are offering such an in-depth vineyard experience.
Back in the centre of the city in Park Street, and just a block away from the park, is a heartwarmingly authentic French Mediterranean restaurant. Beatrice and Didier Kopp's Panolivo is a totally charming place run by totally charming people. The atmosphere is casual yet chic, the decor Provençal. The menu of light lunches and dinners featuring dishes like cassoulet, escargot, roasted peach duck, seafood crostade and daily specials is accompanied by a wine list with 150 selections exclusively from France and Paso Robles, and topped off with desserts and pastries like these, made fresh every day in Panolivo's very own bakery. Tempted? Possible not to be, really. all those Merlots and Cabernets and Syrahs and Zinfandels and Chardonnays and Sauvignon Blancs. In fact, all of those great Paso Robles wines, you might be wanting just a little something to go with it. Well, downtown at Di Ramondo's Italian Market and Cheese Shop, all your desires can be accommodated. All sorts of Italian delicacies and lots of cheese are served up by John Cardinelli with the same passion and the same smile that he's displayed for some 40 years. Marvellous stuff. Now here's some excellent news. If you don't manage to get out and visit every one of Paso Robles wineries, all is not lost, because Wednesday night here at Vinoteca Wine Bar facing the park, it's Winemakers Night. A different feature winery each week offers you 3 of their wines to try, served, as they say in a trade, in a flight of wines. Plus, you get the opportunity to meet the winemaker and chat to him about the wines and his winemaking techniques. It's a weekly event which attracts numerous winemakers from the area, and it actually turns into something of a social gathering. And there's more good news, because there are 6 other nights in a week that Vinoteca is open, and every one of them is a great night to be here. Directly across from the city park is the Paso Robles Inn, with a remarkable, if not spectacular, history. But it's almost hard to imagine driving down Spring Street and glancing over at the Paso Robles Inn that behind that frontage are these magnificent gardens, and I'm sitting in the gardens with a stream running gently behind and birds chirping in the trees, and I'm here with Noreen Martin. She's the owner of the inn. Hi, good to meet you.
Thank you.
How long have you owned this inn?
Probably about 7 years now, since 1999.
But of course the history goes back a long way. What is it, 100 years or so?
Yeah, 1890s. So it was when originally the rich and the famous were, the actresses and the actors were traveling to San Francisco, and this was a great stop.
You know, the inn has, well, infamy, I suppose, more than fame, because it's one of the few hotels to have survived earthquakes and fires. In fact, my understanding is it's been rebuilt, what, 4 times?
I'd say 4 times, yes. Originally the 1890s, when they made it look very much like Europe. And then again in the 1940s after the fire. And then we've continued to remodel and restructure it the last 7 years and bring back as much of the history as we possibly could.
The bulk of what I see here looks fairly new. How much of the original inn remains?
The ballroom. The ballroom was what we were able to restore, because everything else had gone down in the fire.
And what sort of events do you hold in the ballroom?
A lot of nonprofits, weddings, lots and lots of weddings. It has a little bit of everything. It's very charming.
Now, I noticed in a couple of the rooms that they have hot tubs,
Yes.
some out on the balconies.
Yes, we're in the city of Sulphur Springs, and that was one of our main family things we wanted to do. My husband and another gentleman named Floyd Butterfield, they patented a system where they could take the smell out of the sulfur water, and we put spa rooms so that we're all self-cleaning.
Yeah.
So you can come in, get into a sulfur water spa, get all the benefits from it physically, and the water can be drained, and you can come back in another 2 hours, or someone else can come in another 2 hours, and always know that they're in clean sulfur water that has all the minerals. And do you know, it actually makes your skin feel svelte.
Well, I've been delighted to sit here and talk to you. I can see why you love the inn. I can see why you love Paso Robles. Thanks very much indeed.
It's very charming. Thank you.
On the west side of Paso Robles, over the Salinas River, the terrain and temperature change significantly. It's an area often referred to as the Templeton Gap, a name that comes from a gap in the Santa Lucia Mountains that allows ocean breezes from the Pacific to filter inland. The Treana Vineyards sit right in the Templeton Gap. And what's the significance of this? The answer lies with winemaker Austin Hope. The Hope family were pioneers in winemaking out here.
Yeah, we really were. You know, we started here in 1978. Little did we know that we'd be such significant importance.
And what is the significance of your location, the Templeton Gap?
Well, the probably most significant thing about the Templeton Gap is our weather. We have about 20 miles from the Pacific Ocean, and so what we get is this ocean air, ocean breeze that comes and cools down our area every day. So it's very good for the vines.
What are you growing here?
We're growing Cabernet, Syrah, and Merlot.
And they're all produced on site here at Treana?
A lot of them are. We produce our higher end Austin Hope bottling here for Syrah, and then we produce at another facility our Treana Red, which is our flagship brand of Cabernet, Syrah, and Merlot. And then our other wine is Liberty School, which is very quite known, and it's our everyday great value bottle of wine.
And where are your wines distributed?
We're distributed in all throughout the United States. We're in Canada, we're in the UK, we're in Japan, some of the Benelux countries, and we're expanding every day.
So ultimately, what does all this mean to the consumer, to the wine drinker?
Well, the wine drinker is going to get a handcrafted product from a third-generation farming family. With, after all, farming is the most important part of winemaking. So they're going to get a product that's special. It's handcrafted. You know, my family's touched every part of it, from the vines to the winemaking to the bottling. So it's a product that I think we're proud of, and I think you guys would be proud to drink.
Just in case you need a break from wine tasting, and even if you don't, here's a welcome diversion. At the Willow Creek Olive Ranch, about 20 minutes out of town, you can taste olive oil. In fact, you can see the whole process from the orchards to the press to the bottle, and you can see it all right here. Willow Creek is family owned and operated, and the family's signature olive oil is Paso, an estate grown and pressed extra virgin olive oil made of Tuscan olives grown right here on the ranch. The olives are hand-picked from 9,000 trees in some 45 acres of orchards, in varieties chosen specifically for their excellent oil. They're pressed within hours of picking in the family's own press just out the back, and you can't get fresher than that. You can learn exactly how the process works, and if you're here in November or December, you can even watch the harvest and the pressing in action. The tasting room is open every weekend by appointment, a delicious contrast to throw into the middle of your wine tasting trail. This vast landscape of vineyards belongs to Lohr Winery. 2,000 acres of vines, producing more than 600,000 glorious cases of wine every year, distributed in more than 25 countries worldwide. And just how is this sort of phenomenal success achieved? I'll tell you. It's with someone like Jerry Lohr at the helm, a man with a real love of the land, a passion for the vine, and a philosophy that the quality of the wine is directly related to what goes on in the vineyard, which is where you will invariably find him. And it's a philosophy that is imbued in all those around him, which is why, if you want to find the winemaker, you'd better look for him in the vineyards. Hey, Sally. Good, Simon. How are you? Excellent, thanks. Well, I thought I'd find you up here. What are you actually doing at the moment?
For me, this is probably the most important time of the year. It's really about getting in the vineyard and getting to understand the fruit and the quality that it can possibly have for the next vintage. So, as you can see at the moment, we're going through berry set, and in red grapes, which we're growing here in Paso Robles, we're really looking to get a good light environment to enhance those colours and flavours that are so obviously come here in Paso Robles. So from a standpoint of Jay Lohr and Jerry Lohr, our founder, we've really concentrated on Paso Robles as the area for our red grapes, and we're looking more towards Monterey for our white grapes, more for Chardonnay and Riesling and that type of thing. Whereas in Paso, it's a little bit warmer down here, so we've really focused here on producing world-class Cabernet Sauvignon. And then we use other varieties to blend in with that and try and complex out not only the fruit flavours that we get, but also the tannin and the profile of the wines. It's one of the things that really makes Paso Robles great, I think, is the fact that it is a new industry here, and it really is starting to boom.
Now, there is one other subject I want to touch on, something that, well, I didn't even know existed. I've heard of non-alcoholic beers, but non-alcoholic wine.
Well, I think it is in certain countries and certain areas. You know, for us, or for me as a winemaker, I'm really just making the wine I always do and trying to make the best wine I can. and then we just take a part of that and de-alkalize it. So the wine really actually is a wine. So it's not made in any different way other than we add a process to remove the alcohol. And we sell that to a lot of countries, sort of Nordic countries. And funnily enough, we actually sell a lot to Australia as well.
Really?
Which I found quite odd.
Dick Rogers spent 7 of his 29 LA County sheriff years as a homicide detective. His wife Kim was 13 years in corporate life. In 1999, they packed it all in for a new life in organic farming at Hollyhock Farms, 5 miles southeast of town. Hollyhock is an organic farm with a cottage which has the quaintest little room for visitors who come here initially to taste wine and then discover a whole new world of interest. Some even want to get involved and do a little hands-on work. Cut your own flowers from a kaleidoscopic carpet of colour and drop off payment in the little shed at the far side of the field. Or just pull over at the roadside farm stand for beautiful, fresh, organic produce, the very fruits of Hollyhock's gorgeous existence. What a wonderful life. Well, the sign there says, "Welcome to El Paso de Robles," and it's a good place to have it because we're at the airport, Paso Robles Regional Airport. It's a small airport, no commercial traffic. The fire department use it, the Californian Highway Patrol use it. People pop in and out, and some people pop in for dinner. Yeah, they pop in for dinner to Matthew's at the airport, one of Paso Robles' finest restaurants. You don't believe me? You better come and have a look. Well, this is it. This is Matthew's at the airport, and this is Matthew. Hi.
Nice to meet you, Sam.
Matthew started cooking at a very early age, baking cookies for his 7 brothers and 3 sisters. And then what?
Then at 12, I started working in restaurants. And at the age of 19, I graduated from the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. Then I started working in restaurants and hotels until I started my own.
This opportunity, what, just came up?
What a wonderful opportunity in the heart of the wine country in Paso Robles, with the opportunity for people to fly in from wherever they are.
It's fantastic. What sort of style of cooking do you prepare here?
Wine region cooking. So I do items like quail stuffed with caramelized shallots, wrapped in grape leaves and roasted in the oven.
And I hear you have a slight smoked salmon speciality.
It's smoked over the Pinot Noir vines.
Now, you serve wines, what, exclusively? Is it from Central Coast?
I have 139 labels on my list, and they're all from San Luis Obispo County.
Fantastic. Tell me, have you ever had any names here? I would imagine a few well-known faces might drop in.
Well, like Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Yes, she came to see me.
I saw the photograph. I can imagine. I mean, it's going to appeal to that type of celebrity person. Fine dining, beautiful service, and big plus, you come by plane, you can park.
Wow, wasn't that great? I mean, that was a wonderful video. I really enjoyed it. I mean, here's some insight. So, Paso Robles, many, 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 many years ago when I lived in California, I was interested in purchasing some land. I didn't have the idea of growing grapes at the time, but just purchasing land. Land is like value. So I was looking into different areas going up the coast, going north towards San Francisco, and I came across Paso Robles. So we're talking early to mid 90s when this took place. So I came across Paso Robles, and I'm like, wow, what a beautiful place. It wasn't, in fact, along the coast. So we go through like Santa Maria, Ventura County, going through Santa Barbara, places like the free. We're almost way before you get to San Francisco and crossing San Francisco Bridge, getting into Napa and Sonoma. There weren't a lot, if any at all, a lot of wineries in that area. So we're talking, from like Santa Barbara going through Santa Maria, et cetera. Wasn't wineries there. Maybe a few, but not a lot. So I was looking at Paso Robles. It probably was maybe, I'm going to guess, maybe about 20. I'm going to guess about 20. I actually did the research on it, but there wasn't a lot of wineries there at the time. So in other words, I was looking to purchase land in that area. At that time, the land for 1 acre was a cost of $1,500. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like cheap. Now again, in that area along the coast, the wine boom wasn't taking place just then. You're talking Monterey, all those places. It wasn't taking place just then. So I went back, talked to my brother, said, you know what? Here's what we should do. We should purchase this land, in Paso Robles, $1,500 an acre, maybe purchase several acres. Well, I didn't want to do it by myself. So I passed on it, right? Now, many, many years later, when I'm now in Wisconsin, I had a wine shop, et cetera, and I was sampling wines. In fact, one of the wineries in the video, EOS and E. Burley, a couple of them, EOS and E. Burley, one of my distributors, brought those wines to me. And we had a grand old time. For me, it was great to reminisce about California. And so I asked, so what? I told him the same story I just told you, and I asked him, I said, so what is the price per acre? Now, this is now 2010. I said, so what's the price per acre now? He says to me, with a big grin on his face, because he knows what's going to happen, that you're probably going to slap yourself a couple of times and then take a shot of wine. He said, at that time, it was $150,000 per acre. Slap, all because of my own fears of not wanting to do it by myself. But I should have taken the leap and done it, because now Paso Robles is another one of those wine regions that is very well respected. A lot of good wineries there, a lot of good wines there. You won't be disappointed. Something else I found in research, Vinautica, I believe it was called Vinautica in the winery. It's a wine bar. All my research shows that because we're now in lockdown 2020, of course you all know, that Vinautica is closed, and it says closed permanently. So hopefully, when we get to a point where things are a lot more manageable, or maybe even past, that Vinautica opens up, because there's a place where they showcase a lot of Paso Robles and the wines and the wineries, and winemakers come in and mingle with the customers that visit the wine bar. So again, Vinautica, check it out. Keep your eyes on it. It's a beautiful place to go and visit. But right now it says that it's closed because we're in lockdown 2020. This is COVID-19. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Share it. Like the page, Facebook. Like the page, the YouTube channel. And there's your Wisconsin Wine Guy saying, as always, let your palate be the guide. I'm going to drink some of this port, eat some cheeses and meats and crackers. And I'll see you next Saturday. Ciao.